Jalon Walker. It feels like Jalon Walker week. I don't know if you feel it, but I feel it. Everybody's talking about Jalon Walker. Jalon Walker is sweeping throughout the media here in New England over the past 4 or 5 days. There wasn't a ton of talk about Walker before this week. Now I can't go anywhere. Online, on the radio, on TV, I can't go anywhere without hearing Jalon Walker's name being linked to the Patriots. We'll talk about that coming up next. First, don't forget to do a couple of things that helps us here. Hit that thumbs up button as you watch us on YouTube. More likes means more eyeballs. I've been saying it for the last year and a half plus since we began this podcast when it was known as the Nick Cattle Show. Now it's Everything Pats, a New England Patriots podcast. Don't forget to click that thumbs up and like the YouTube channel. Don't forget to throw your comments in. Old Man Lob throwing in Will Campbell or Abdul Carter at number 4 as a comment. Anonymous says they would vote for Campbell. Adam comes in and says, sup, bro. Sup, Adam. Anonymous again, happy Friday all. So don't forget to throw your comments in. Don't forget to hit that like button as you watch. And don't forget to subscribe. We are less than 30 subscribers away from our goal of 6,500 subs by the first round of the NFL draft. We are now under 2 weeks away. We're 13 days away from the NFL draft. Let's hit that 6,500 subscriber goal with Everything Pats. All right, before I get to Jalon Walker, I remind you to check out the Locked On Patriots podcast. I'm obviously doing content over there. First week of pods at Locked On done. I know I'm asking a lot. You're not going to catch every single thing that I do, but if you have some time, you want to hear some more Patriots content, you can check out that podcast as well. Pete Pretorius with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Pete, for the $5. To save Vrabel kept the promise, quote, to build this from the inside out, unquote. Do we need to see at least 2 offensive line picks within the Pats' first 4? I don't want to put a number on it. What I do want to see, I believe that you absolutely have to get a tackle within your first 2 picks, whether that's at 4, whether that's at 38, somebody falls to you, whether that is you trading back into the first round. You have to get a tackle with one of these first 2 picks. You have to. Because the chances of you drafting a left tackle in the 3rd round, 4th round, that is going to help you immediately, it's a very, very tall task. It's very tough to ask any prospect drafted in the 3rd or 4th round at that position specifically to help you right away. It's possible, but it's not probable. So I do think the Patriots have to absolutely draft a tackle, one out of those first 2 picks. But I want to see how the board falls, right? I don't think that they should be reaching for an offensive lineman just because the guy plays offensive line. So you could end up drafting, somebody that's later on in the 4th round that can help you. You can draft an interior offensive lineman. You can draft a center. You can draft other guys beyond the 3rd round, or at least with that last pick of the 3rd round, which would be your 4th pick. But I don't think it's a necessity. At least not for me. I don't want them going into this draft saying we absolutely need 2 offensive linemen within the first 4 picks that we have, because that makes you reach. Now you're drafting way too much for need. So, yes, I think you've got to draft a tackle early. And if you draft a tackle with one of those first 2 picks, you're on your way. Because at left guard, you could go into camp with Sidney So, Layden Robinson, Cole Strange, and say one of those 3 guys should be able to be at least average for you at left guard. You brought in Garrett Bradbury. You paid him in free agency. He's your starting center. You went out and you paid Morgan Moses. You paid Michael Wenu last year. But to walk out of this draft without a tackle would be inexcusable and, frankly, irresponsible. But I wouldn't put a number on it and say, oh, you've got to draft this many offensive linemen through the first, 2, 3, 4 picks. I wouldn't go that far. Some of you might. I personally would not. Again, thanks for the $5, Pete. I appreciate it. Greg jumps in with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate the 20. Great job, Nick, with Locked On, with Greg, and, of course, Everything Patriots. Kudos. I'm trying to keep the content unique, and we'll have more changes as time goes along. I have a couple of ideas. I got to brainstorm over the weekend now that I know the schedule a little bit better and what I'm looking at. But I appreciate the kind words, Greg, and I especially appreciate the support and generosity with that $20. Thank you, sir. All right, Jalon Walker, the momentum has been building this week. I feel it. I'm sure you've been feeling it. Mike Giardi came out with his mock draft, his latest. He had Walker going to the Patriots at number 4. He wrote, Walker may be the best player in the draft, not named Hunter or Carter, and he has a lot of fans at one Patriot place. He has a lot of fans. My friend Pat's Pro 21 on Twitter, who watches the pod every once in a while, broke some news early in this offseason. He ended up writing this on Twitter, massive amount of fans in the building, talking about Walker. I'm told every interaction has built his rapport with those in the building. I'm also told he killed his top 30 visit. Burt Breer wrote this about Walker. So who will be the first non-quarterback to go after Hunter and Carter? I think Jalon Walker has a shot to be that guy. So there's a lot of momentum building behind Jalon Walker as we get closer to the draft. I know many people say you have to go offense at number 4. You have to help Drake May. You have gigantic holes at wide receiver still. You've got a huge hole at left tackle. You have to go offense. What I would ask Mike Vrabel, Elliott Wolf, all those guys at Gillette, what I would ask them is, do they believe that Jalon Walker has the potential to be a blue chip kind of guy? Do they think that Walker can be a Pro Bowler? Do they think he might be just on the outside looking in of the all-pro category? Because if you think Jalon Walker has that kind of ceiling, if you think Walker could end up being the best player in this draft that is not named Hunter or Carter, then you draft Jalon Walker at 4. And you say to yourself, we'll have to find other ways to get that offensive line help. If you feel that he is on the cusp of all-pro, if you think this guy could be as good as the top 2 players in the draft, I don't know if that's the case. I would love to know if the Patriots feel like that is the case. So let's get into Walker. Walker and the Patriots makes a ton of sense. Just makes a ton of sense. First, he's a Vrabel kind of guy. He's got a great motor. He is a really good leader. He is a hard worker. And everything you read about him, everything you hear about him, everything that you watch about him tells you that he has a pristine character. This is somebody who knocks out the interviews. This is somebody that you're not worried is going to be unprofessional. You're not worried about this guy saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. Jalon Walker, when it comes to character, everybody will tell you he, quote unquote, checks all the boxes. He has a clean sheet. A clean sheet. So when Vrabel talks about building culture, when he talks about bringing in the right guys to his program, Walker's that type of guy. Pristine character, leader, hard worker, constant motor. So he's a Vrabel type guy. Now, the question about Jalon Walker, a lot of the questions, stop me if you haven't heard this before, a lot of questions about Jalon Walker is his size. A common theme of the 2025 NFL draft. Because he's seen as a tweener. Is he an off-ball linebacker? Is he a defensive end? Can he play edge at the NFL level? When you look at his measurables, we did this with Will Campbell, right? When you look at his measurables, Walker's only 6'1". Now, as far as defensive end goes, that would put Walker in the 2nd percentile. So he's short. He weighs 243 pounds. 243 would put Walker in the 6th percentile in the NFL. So he's shorter, he's thinner. Let's get to arm length. You love arm length. I love arm length. Jalon Walker's arm length, 32 inches, which would put him in the 5th percentile in the NFL. So height, 2nd percentile. Weight, 6th percentile. Arm length, 5th percentile. Not a big guy to play edge. But here's what I would do. I would look at Harold Landry, who, of course, is now here in New England. I went and I looked up Landry's measurables because we know that Landry fit perfectly within the Vrabel defense. They obviously went out and they signed him in free agency. He's a great fit for this system. So compare Landry to Jalon Walker. Interesting comparison. Jalon Walker's 6'1". Landry is 6'2". Walker's 243. Landry's 252. You'd imagine that Walker can put on some weight when he gets to the NFL. And I've heard the reports. I've heard people say that Landry this past year for Tennessee, he was down to the 230s. So when you compare Landry, 252, Walker 243. Walker can gain that weight. Walker 6'1", Landry 6'2". Arm length. You've got Walker at 32-inch arm length, Harold Landry 32 7/8. So Harold Landry would be undersized. He would be considered undersized to play the edge in the NFL. But Vrabel made that work and made Landry shine. So I don't see a big difference between Harold Landry and Jalon Walker when you look at the measurables. I don't think there's a significant difference. And Jalon Walker at Georgia was incredibly productive. We talk about Will Campbell against SEC competition. Jalon Walker against SEC competition, he was very productive. He had 34 pressures. 34 pressures. His pass rush win rate was 17.2%. So this is somebody, when he was put on the edge, when he was given that responsibility to get after the quarterback, Jalon Walker proved in the SEC, best conference in the country, he proved that he could consistently get to the quarterback. He could consistently win one-on-one. He could consistently cause those pressures. He's an exciting player. And he's a Swiss Army knife. Some people look at the term tweener and it's seen as a weakness. But if you have the right coaching staff and you have the right player who's willing to work hard, is super intelligent, has been highly productive, and is just happy to play every time he gets a snap. If you have a guy like that, being a quote-unquote tweener could actually work to your advantage because you can do a lot of different things. Walker at Georgia, he took snaps at inside linebacker. He took snaps at outside linebacker. He took snaps at defensive end. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to think about Jalon Walker as the ultimate weapon on the defense and how Mike Vrabel and Terrell Williams can utilize his talent. Think about how they can sprinkle him in different spots and use that versatility to their advantage and make this defense incredibly difficult to deal with. Now you've got Landry, now you've got Walker, you've got Keon White, you've got Barmore, you've got Milton Williams. We're talking about a lot of talent in that front seven. A lot of talent. And Jalon Walker can do a lot of different things for you defensively. I just have to imagine that would get Mike Vrabel, Terrell Williams, Clint McMillan, and Mike Smith. I would imagine that would get all four of those guys excited to work with Jalon Walker. And because he has that work ethic, because he has great character, you feel like you can build upon his natural gifts. You feel like that's a player who's going to walk into the program and immediately be a sponge. And you could just put him in all different places and make him a nightmare for the offense that you're going against. That gets me excited. I know we talk offense. And again, left tackle is the need. But if you're not sold on those guys, if you're the Patriots and you think that Jalon Walker is a better prospect and you feel like you can get a tackle, you can move back into the first round, you have that intel, and you feel confident that you can go out there and get that tackle that you need in this draft out of those first two picks, and Jalon Walker is sitting there, if you think about it defensively, he's an exciting prospect. And I trust Vrabel, I trust Williams to utilize him in the right way. And usually people with a motor, usually people with that work ethic, usually the people with the character. Look at Jaylen Brown when he was drafted to the Celtics. A lot of questions about him, right? But he works tirelessly, nonstop on his game. High character guy, super intelligent. So when you have somebody like that, those types of athletes, those types of pro athletes usually get better. And they get better more rapidly than other guys. So Jalon Walker, if Hunter and Carter are not there and you're sitting at 4, Jalon Walker should 100% be in serious consideration for that pick at number 4. I'm not going to tell you who I'm picking at 4 until we get close to the draft. You know that. I don't go back and forth, wishy-washy. I don't give you 15 different mock drafts. I wait until the week of the draft. I take it all in. But I will tell you that Jalon Walker gets me excited, and I think he's somebody that should be absolutely in serious consideration for that 4th pick in the draft in 13 nights. All right, I want to give you some draft nuggets heading into your weekend. Don't forget to click that like button as you watch us on YouTube. Let's help take advantage of that algorithm, help a brother out, help the live stream out. You click that thumbs up, more eyeballs get to see the product. I appreciate that from all of you. Don't forget to throw your comments in. I see a bunch of comments being thrown in. Brendan McCaffrey says that's what I like the most about Walker. He dominated in college. Tony Stark says Zach Thomas was small too. So don't forget to like, don't forget to throw your comments in, and don't forget to subscribe as we try to hit that goal of 6,500 subscribers by the night of the draft. We're less than 30 away. We got 13 nights.